Gratitude is a very, very important part of life. You know, nothing lasts forever. And every phase, every stage of our life comes to an end at some point. You only have to think back to any part of your life, and you realise just how fleeting it was, how quickly things went by. Of course, you didn't realise that at the time, but just how quickly, how fleeting, how precious, how vulnerable things were. But as you get older, you start to realise that the present is the most important thing to appreciate and not take for granted. You know, when you really think about it, when you sit down for a moment and really think about the fact that we're on one of many trillions of planets in our universe, certainly one of many billions in galaxy alone. You realise just how special being human is in many ways, and how incredibly fortunate it is to be alive and to experience life as a human being. Of course, it also comes with a lot of mountainous level of problems and struggles and issues. When you really think about how precious our planet is in terms of life managed to survive, and so it's so much diversity of life has managed to survive, and yes, of course, there's been mass extinctions, but life has continued for a great deal of the Earth's history in some form or other. Well, we are really just nothing but a blip in time, really, a barely noticeable period in terms of the existence of the universe. And yet, incredibly, as a species, we've achieved so much. We've learned so much about our planet, about our solar system. This isn't about space, but I think it's, when you think about the vastness and just the potentially incredible diversity that might be out there in space, it's easy to so sometimes it's easy to forget what it is to live on such a precious planet like Earth. It's easy to forget how lucky we are to be the species that we are in many ways. That's not to say that life as another species on Earth would be any less interesting of an experience, but I just mean in terms of our ability to, but maybe sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I think it would be nice to just be able to experience that, and just as a frame of reference to experience life as a different species, to help us appreciate what it is like, how the good aspects, and unfortunately aren't. I wish I could say that it was all good and great to be a Homo sapien, but it's not. But there are But having said that, there are certainly some very great and wonderful things about being who we are, our ability to be curious and to think and to learn, to adapt, to survive. That's our incredible levels of resilience, and it's easy to get caught up in life, and it's easy to forget how vulnerable we are as a species. All it would take really was a big enough asteroid or comet, whatever, to smash into the planet, or for some crazy solar flares or solar storms or whatever to wipe out our grids and things like that, or some of our nearby activity in the galaxy that could cause a lot of problems for our the habitability of our planet and so forth. And if our moon was slightly off or slightly smaller, and the tectonic aspects of our planet, and just the distance, the distance that makes our planet habitable. We're so incredibly just so vulnerable, not only as a species but just as our entire planet itself is just so in such a balanced way that if just one or two things were slightly off, things would be very difficult on this planet for us, So, but anyway, I don't want to make this about the cosmos or anything like that, but I just think that it's an important thing to remember that we are special in many ways. We are, but potentially unique. I mean, we don't know, but if there are any other kind of humanoid-like thinking, intelligent creatures out there in the Milky Way galaxy or elsewhere, but we don't know. But for the time being, at least. But anyway, that's enough about that kind of stuff. But it's this is why I think meditation is a really important, useful tool for humanity in many ways. It's that ability to just what John Butler is a famous YouTuber. It was really an unintentional sort of pseudo celebrity, if you like, on YouTube, who kind of unintentionally found himself in the ASMR world. He says, come to the present, feet on the ground, bum on the chair. And he's right in many ways, Of course, he does talk a lot about theological stuff with regards to Christianity and his relationship with that, and take of that what you want if you so happen to be a Christian, or maybe have some kind of leanings towards it in some way, or you're an agnostic, or even if you're an atheist. It's always good to be challenged on your beliefs and biases and just the way that you interpret the world. But he's so right. It's so important to be able to just live in the moment, because that's all you have. You don't have anything else. You can't touch the past. You can't touch the future. You can't live in either of those worlds. All you can do is reflect on the past. All you can do is hope and try to plan to some extent for the future, and have some ideas of what you want to do and who you'd like to be, and maybe have some goals, some kind of a life plan, I guess, to some extent. in the short term at least. But even with that, you know, it's you know, people say it all the time, you know, there's no guarantee of tomorrow, and it's true, you know, there isn't, you know, none of us know if we're gonna, you know, if this is our last day on earth, and not, you know, how many people die every day thinking that, you know, they've got decades ahead of them, you know, how many people die, you know, with so many aspirations, ambitions, and, you know, holidays booked, and kids on the way, and, you know, a business getting going, and, you know, plans to, you know, tick off some of their bucket list. Plans and so forth. So, you know, none of us know exactly when our time's coming, you know, and that's why you have to, you know, you really do have to appreciate, try to, as much as you possibly can, you know, when you get those good moments, those happier moments, because they are very fleeting moments, but when they arrive, you know, bask in the sunshine, you know, bask in the wonders sometimes, you know, the things, the feelings, the things that come to your head, you know, the moments of solitude, those moments of where you can really sit back and appreciate the joys of being alive, you know, just feeling the wind on you, feeling the, you know, a storm coming, and, you know, anticipation of whatever it might be, you know, a new job and a child, you know, maybe, you know, you're starting in a relationship, or you're just about to get married, or, but even if not, I mean, even when doors close, and you know, and you know deep down in your heart that it's time for you to look for some kind of a change and to move on and close certain doors behind you, you know, those moments matter too, because those are moments that you'll remember for the rest of your life. You know, we tend to remember those kind of things more than the happy times, because they tend to hit the hardest. So in those moments, you know, it's good to, you know, evaluate where you've been and why these things are happening, and you know, appreciate that you had opportunities, or some opportunities that other people haven't had, and like I said, just, you know, try to appreciate, have appreciation, have gratitude for being alive. Just that in and of itself is can be in the right contexts, right situations, the right moments, you know, a wonderful thing to really think about. Watching the sunrise, watching the sunset, you know, watching the illuminated moon at night, and just to kind of just certain moments that capture your attention in life at certain times, and you never know when they're coming, but they can just happen randomly. They can. And it's in those moments, I think, where you know, whether that's maybe sitting on the beach, or, you know, you've reached the top of a mountain or a tall hill, or, you know, you've achieved something you didn't think you could do. Whether that's, you know, you've finished your first degree, you know, you've lost, you know, a ton of weight, or, you know, you're eating much healthier now, you're you're in a happier place in life in certain ways. Appreciate those moments. Have gratitude that things didn't, in many ways, have gratitude when things don't work out, because often in the end it's often a lot of the time for the best, really. And although we may not always see it, life is essentially kicking us up the arse and saying, it's time to move on. It's time to seek something different, something new. Your bodies, your mind, your soul, your spirit has been talking to you. It's been telling you, that things just aren't right. Things aren't working out for you. Things aren't really providing you with the things that you need. Things, whether that's people, whether that's the job, the career that you have, whether that's the particular place that you're living in. I think in life we need every so many years, whether that's every decade or every sort of say 10, 15 years or so, let's just say. I think it's almost inevitable, really, that change happens, whether it's us that are planning to change, or things around us that force us to change in some ways, or sometimes there are just unexpected surprises and disappointments and setbacks, like everybody. We've all had times where we didn't get what we want, or we didn't get where we wanted to get as quickly as we would have liked to. We didn't arrive at the place we thought we would. Our relationship didn't turn out the way we'd hoped. Our job didn't pan out the way we would have liked it to. Maybe we just over time, I think just sometimes, things just don't go the way that you would have wanted them or needed them to go. But that's life, man. That is life, unfortunately. We live our lives with an endless array of expectations and wants and needs, and it's easy to get disheartened and lost, quite frankly, at times in life when things don't seem to be going very well. Going back to the meditation thing, maybe there's a lot more to that. Maybe there's something really to be said about that aspect of well-being, self-help, even whatever you want to call it. Sort of free therapeutic, mind training, I suppose, in many ways. It's, I've never really been much of a meditator. I've tried it a few times, and you never quite know what to expect from it. But it's more of for me at least, during the times that I've practiced meditation, it's a sense of peace, a calm, just being still with yourself, allowing yourself to have permission to escape temporarily the flood of thoughts and emotions that often accompany our lives, minute by minute, hour by hour. You have to know when to accept you know, that often, you know, like life is unpredictable. It just is. It's, you know, there's no guarantees of anything. None of us know how long our jobs are going to last. None of us know how long our siblings or parents are going to be around. You know, none of us know how long, you know, our friends are going to stick with us, and our partners, and, you know, how long the economy is going to be stable or unstable. When's the next trend coming along? You know, what's the next fashion statement of the day? You know, what's the next bandwagon? You know, we're just living our lives, really, a lot of the time, actually, in a passive way, I suppose. We're not really, you know, we're not really often active participants in our life, for the most part, not unless you're, you kind of, well, what I mean by that is, you know, we're not living in the moment. We're not present because we're so occupied by the stresses and pressures of just being ourselves, really, for the most part. Especially if you're someone that thinks deeply, thinks a lot, and maybe you're more introverted than, say, your friend, most of the people in your friendship group, let's say, or your family members. You know, but so it's so important to just be able to give yourself that time, that whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, an hour even, where you can just sit down and just be allowed to be at one with yourself. You know, it's okay. It's okay to let go of things. It's okay to move on. It's okay to say, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to continue to think these kind of thoughts anymore. That's okay. It's okay to change. It's not a crime. We all do it. We all transition. We all move on in life at certain times. You know, we all have to move on. It's part of the contract of life, really. You have to learn to let go of things. You know, to let go of past friendships, past romantic relationships. You know, it's okay to accept that, you know, maybe whatever job you're doing, whatever career you happen to be in, might not be for you. It might not be what you wanted out of life, or what you want, you know, going forward. It's okay to say that I'm not well, you know, I'm not the person I want to be. I'm not the person I should be. It's okay to move on from that. You know, it's okay to draw a line in the sand, to close the door behind you and say, I've got to move on. I've got to shift in some ways my mentality, my attitudes, my thoughts, my emotions, because it's dragging me in the gutter, it's dragging me down, it's not helping anybody around me. And so life becomes, whether you like it or not, it becomes a journey of a kind of voyage. Yeah, it's an endless voyage of realization, really. That's how I would describe human life in the modern era in many ways. It's certainly in the Western world. Or if you come from the Western world and you're living elsewhere, you still have that kind of mentality of, you know, this very individualistic, critical thinking, analytical. You know, I've got to be independent, self-reliant, responsible, accountable for myself. And that, I'm not saying that those things don't matter, but they do. But it's important also though to it's important to find a community. It's important to find people that you feel can push you, feel that can help you to get the best out of yourself in some way. Because we sometimes need people around us to bring us out of our shell. We don't see what other people see in us. We don't realise sometimes how flawed we are as human, as individuals, and we all are flawed. Every single person alive is flawed. But sometimes you don't see it because you don't have any frame of reference. You're stuck inside your own. That's the only thing you know. You only know you. You only know what it's like to wake up and be you every day. Just as I do myself. I don't know what it's like to be my brothers or my sister or my parents or people that I've known in the past or people I'll know in the future. I've no idea. All I know is what I've experienced and things I've learnt along my path in life, and we're all on our own paths, and we're all on our own journeys, really, like using all of these kind of overused words to describe these kind of things, but it's just that it's a journey. That's what life is. It's a rocky, turbulent, unpredictable, surprising sometimes depressing, sometimes joyous, whirlwind of an experience, really, from the moment you're born to the day you die. There aren't any, there's no book really that can spell out, the extent of the human experience for every single person on earth. Of course there are some general factors and basic aspects of life that we all go through, but in terms of our own voyage, our own discovery of learning and gaining knowledge and building on experience and gaining wisdom, that's a very personal journey. It's unique to all of us, because none of us are living exactly parallel lives. None of us are been through exactly the same things, and we're all experiencing things slightly different as well. We're all got our own personalities, or sort of sub like genre kind of like type of personalities, and there's all sorts of levels of various personality types and traits and so forth. So it's very unique. It's very individualistic, and there's no, there aren't really any easy answers or any easy paths to go down in life to reach a state of nirvana or bliss or spirituality or peace. There are certain things that might help you, but I can't. Nobody can tell me. Nobody can live my life for me, and I can't live anybody else's lives for them. the only thing you can do is to just, you know, take opportunities when you can, when people give you the chance to make something of yourself, you know, let your potential shine through, and just try to make the best of it, really. I mean, that's all you can really do in life, you know. It's like you can, you know, obviously try and learn some things and pick up some skills here and there, and, you know, build upon, you know, interpersonal skills and things like that, and, you know, try to become a better person as best as you can, but that's also very subjective, you know. That's very, you know, nobody can exactly define that, I don't think, you know. I think we all have to you know, sometimes it's just a case of not looking for peace. It's not. It's sometimes it's not even so much that it's, you know, it's not it's more of an internal battle with yourself, I think, more than it is about external parts of life. You know, it's more of a kind of, it's more of a internal struggle, I think. Life, in my opinion, is as much as it is about the things that are going on outside of yourself and your relationship to things outside of yourself, and your relationship with life in and of itself. You know, whether you have any thoughts on religion, philosophy, I certainly can't say that I'm a spiritual man in any way, but I certainly have moments where I feel very much at peace with myself, and sometimes content with things. But, you know, but that's partly because of my own willingness to try to be those things. But some of it's down to, you know, some of it's been passive, some of it's been active, some of it's, I guess, based on the things that I've seen, and also giving myself opportunities to try new things, or to try and be consistent enough to see if something would work or not for me. But what might be called, you know, a spiritual place for me would be very different for many other people, and actually often for me it's often actually quite a random experience. It doesn't happen too often, but it's often just a case of, it's not just comfort, it's a temporary place of just feeling just like being on calm water, on an ocean or something, like just being on a strong boat or something, you know, or just sitting there floating on a nice calm ocean, no worries, nothing to see really, nothing to do, and just sitting there and just closing your eyes, feeling the waves, the motion of the waves, and that to me is would be something that you might call a kind of spiritual experience, or just sitting in your bed with, you know, a nice cup of tea, a hot tea or hot chocolate or something, and just hugging that cup, and, you know, just feeling the moment, feeling yourself, your body, feeling the mind come to a place of rest for a period of time. That to me is what spirituality is. It's that place when you can finally, if you want to use the word spiritual, tranquil, peaceful, bliss, whatever. To me, that matters. It's very important to have those moments. And it shouldn't come from other people. It shouldn't be. I mean, sometimes I think the problem that we have in life is we're trying to chase that too much. We're so desperately focused on trying to get that it's running away from us. Because often it doesn't. It's not. It isn't that. It's not. It's. I don't think that is real peace, It's not just about the experience. It's not just, what I mean is there's obviously the sensations of the experience, but it what matters more than anything else, whether you listen to the rustling of trees, you're on the temperature's just right and you're just sitting on the beach, just not a care in the world. It's not just that, it's also just a place of being able to almost kind of turn a switch off in your brain, where you just don't have any thoughts, you don't have any stresses, you don't have any anxiety about what's happening today or tomorrow and in the next few weeks, months, years, decades from now. We're all wondering about the future. We're all wondering about what's coming next. What's going to happen to this, that, the other. How am I going to deal with this if this happens? We've all got an excess amount of potential problems, issues that could come up, and I'm not saying that you just should just ignore them, but it's that ability to. Sometimes it happens without you really having to try. Sometimes you have to try harder than others, but it's just this mindset, or not even a mindset, just a mental. It's just kind of, I imagine like the universe with nothing in it. That kind of, if you can visualize that, just nothing there. Apart from the blackness of the universe. I don't know what analogy to use. I don't know how to describe it, but just a place where you can, even if it's just for a few seconds, or at least a few minutes at most, don't let your mind control you. Don't let your thoughts dictate how you feel about yourself. Don't let your self, critic, your self-judge. Ruin your ability to find peace with yourself. Because we all have those parts of us. We're all fighting against that negative self-talk, that self-doubt, that put-down voice, that internal judge, that internal bully almost. And we kind of become a slave to it, we become addicted to it almost. And that's how you get. If you can somehow put that to a side or break free of it somewhere, you know, that's when you can. Look, of course, I'm not saying that you can always live in this state of peace all the time, because obviously, you know, life is stressful and demanding and difficult and unstable a lot of the time in many ways. But when you have the opportunity, when you have that chance to just let go of everything for a while, do it. Because that matters maybe more than anything else in your life. You know, to have those precious few moments where you're not worrying about money, you know, your argumentative co-workers, your demanding boss, your the problems of your marriage, you know, the problems of your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you know, your own health problems, your own mental health problems, whatever. You know, worrying about, you know, where you're going to get the money to feed your kids, or to pay your bills and pay off your debts and so forth. You know, because I think in those moments, that's where you can find, if nowhere else, you know, that's where you can find gratitude. You know, you can find a bit of joy in life, because that's where you can truly be with yourself. And I think if you can find it somewhere within you to allow yourself to be comfortable with yourself, to accept yourself, to know that you're a flawed individual, but also accept that you have, you know, a great deal of kindness in you and a good heart and generosity and willingness to try and be a good person, even though you are a flawed individual, as we all are, you know, then I think you can slowly over time become I'm hesitant to use the word happy, but I'd say just able to it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to just okay. It's okay to be yourself. You know, it's okay to see the uglier sides of yourself. It's okay to know that you're not perfect, to know that you're flawed, to know that you have parts of yourself that you don't particularly like, but also, but also look at the other sides of yourself as well. You know, try to find that balance within yourself. Try to find that place where you can look at both sides, where you're not just dwelling on one or the other. You know, try to find that middle ground, because that's that humbleness, that ability to be honest and real with who you are. I think that's a place where you can be less, you know, if you can sit in that place from time to time, you're not allowing certain parts of your mind to dictate the rules, to dictate how you feel about yourself on a daily basis. You have to be able to, you know, question your thoughts, question your feelings, instead of just accepting them for what you think they are, what this appear to be on the surface, because a lot of the times these things aren't actually always what you think they are. They're a byproduct of your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind, and all of the parts of yourself that make you a human being. Your guilt, your regrets, your desires, your hopes, your dreams. Unresolved parts of your life, and just past memories and so forth. People that you knew and situations that you had, and we're all living with the dilemma of trying to live in the present, but kind of being dominated by our pasts in many ways, mentally speaking, that is. So it's important to try to get to a point where you can, I suppose, almost kind of separate yourself into different people, to different sides of yourself, and try to lock on, try to calibrate yourself, try to lock in on a certain part of yourself. That's where you'll find that you'll become. I think you'll find yourself to be more at peace over time. And that doesn't mean that life's gonna get easier for you, or that you're not gonna have the same frustrations and disillusionment from time to time with humanity and maybe yourself sometimes even. But let things happen. Learn to let life happen, but don't let life ruin you. Don't let it control every aspect of you, every second of the day. Try to find some kind of solace in your life. That's whatever that might be for you. Whether that's poetry, art, music, playing games. Going out for a walk, or riding your bike, going for a swim. Just going somewhere quiet. Whether that's a park or maybe by a stream, lake, river somewhere, by the ocean, whatever it might be. I've talked about nature before on my channel, my YouTube channel, and how powerful and incredibly important that has been for me, and I'm sure it is for many other people out there. So find something that gives you something to give you hope in life. I think it's we're so incredibly busy a lot of the time, just trying to survive, trying to get by, trying to make it to the next day. That we forget how. I'm not saying that life is perfect by any means, of course not. But we're lucky. We're very, 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 very lucky to be here at all. And I think that it's important to remember that. You're here one minute and the next minute you're not. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long or how short of a life you live, as long as you try and live it in a way that brings you some kind of purpose, some meaning, some joy, some peace from time to time. Because that's what makes life worth it, in my opinion. yes, of course it's good to chase your dreams and your ambitions, and obviously we all should be doing that. But ultimately, if you're not at peace with yourself, none of those things will ever bring you any joy. None of those things will ever really fulfill you, and you'll always be constantly looking for something to fill that emptiness that we all have at times in life. When nobody lives their life in a complete state of genuine peace or bliss 24 hours a day. It doesn't happen, not unless you're maybe living in a monastery or living as a monk in a temple or something like that maybe. But even then, life isn't perfect. There are problems in every. There are struggles, there are internal battles of all walks of life. It doesn't matter where you come from, how much money you've got, how much luck you've had. It's all. It's. We're all walking on a tightrope in some form or other. It's just life, and if you stretch that out to just life itself, we're all on a tightrope, and we're all going to fall off it at some point. So it's like, so you've got to make. I'm just repeating things that everybody says, really. So not exactly bringing anything new to the table, but it's important to try to enjoy life, try to get the most out of it while you can, because it is not going to last forever. You know it, I know it, and embrace the struggles, embrace the pain that comes along with life. Instead of trying to fight against it, take it on board and let it be some kind of a fuel to your fire in some way. Let it be something that pushes you forward. That doesn't, because there's nothing worse than living a life that you hate. There's nothing worse than waking up 10 years later from now and you're still in the same place, still doing exactly the same thing. And life's kind of passed you by, and opportunities have gone by the wayside, and you don't want to live like that, man. You don't want to end up on your deathbed with a ton of regrets that eat you alive until the very moment you pass. That's no way to live. And that's the problem. Most people are only really existing in life, and that's very sad. It's a shame. And I've done some of it myself. I'm not a hypocrite, and I've made mistakes myself, and haven't always embraced change very well. I haven't always taken opportunities that were kind of presented to me to the best of my ability, and I accept that. But like I said before, we're all incredibly, we're all just trying to learn as we go along. None of us know if we're doing the right things or not at times, and we're just trying to guide our way through this maze that is life. It's incredibly hard. It's difficult to sometimes know if what you're doing is what you need, what you should be doing. We don't know. Hindsight's great, but it's sometimes it'd be nice to have a bit of it. It'd be nice to have the ability to see things in the moment rather than regret, But then again, none of us would ever learn. None of us would ever evolve or change, I suppose. So it's important to. It's okay to fuck up in life. It's not the end of the world if you have to reset and restart your life over. Sometimes it's okay to say I went down the wrong path. It's okay to accept that things aren't working for you anymore. Things aren't motivating you, pushing you forwards. And helping you in any way to be a more fulfilled individual. And so you have to, and that's why I think, let's come back to the meditation thing before I finish here. I think there's a lot to be said about it. It's not. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but it can be a really important thing to just turn the light off in your head sometimes. That crazy spinning light of complex feelings and various thoughts about the past, the present, the future, all together combined in one chaotic mess. And trying to pluck out certain things from time to time. Find wisdom where you can and learn from it and enjoy this life, this opportunity to be alive, because it's fucking special, man. And mortality is knocking. It's not far behind. It's you're only a breath away from death. You're only a heartbeat away from death. It's a very, very powerful thing to think about. That just how incredibly susceptible we are as a species to mortality in many, many ways. And I don't want to make this about death or anything, but if nothing else can ever bring you peace, surely death, the knowledge of it, the fact, the realization, the true acceptance that is something that will happen to you sooner or later, it should be really perhaps the most powerful thing, the most powerful guide, motivator for change, for happiness if you want to use that word, for peace, than anything else really. So when you can, where you can, try and find something that you consider to be happiness. Try and find some reason to be happy, to be hopeful about life, to get that energy back, to get that lightens your flame, that gives you that spark, that gives you that strength, that resilience, that inner belief in yourself, that life is worth it. It is worth living, despite all the incredibly complicated and messy nature of it all. That it can be worth it, even if it's just in those very small, fleeting, infrequent moments that happen from time to time. Embrace it, enjoy it, and grab everything you possibly can while you can. Try and get the most out of life as best as you can. Don't waste your life away. Don't waste it, man. It's too unique, it's too precious to ruin it away. Think about how much has changed, think about how many people have gone in your lifetime, and how much of your life has already gone by, and it's very profound.